My name is Don Jasensky, and I'm the president and founder of Automotive Personnel, the executive search firm. I started my company 30 years ago, and we work with auto dealerships and buy here, pay here dealerships around the country, helping them find key people. We also work with single point dealerships and large groups like the Auto Nations, and J.D. Byrider are clients of ours. Some of our corporate clients are the manufacturer financial arms, like Ferrari Financial. Toyota Acceptance are clients of ours. I'm also on the board of directors of the National Auto Finance Association, and I do have a book coming out next month on Amazon Press called Finding, Hiring, and Keeping the Best Employees for Any Position. So that's about me. What I'm here for today is to help tell you and teach you what I learned in 30 years as a corporate headhunter. I want to accomplish two things. I want you to be able to take home some techniques that will make you and your staff better recruiters, things that we've learned in 30 years. Additionally, I want to challenge you to have your own recruitment system, just like you have an accounting system. So when you hire a recon manager, or you hire a collection manager, or a sales manager, you could sit down with them and say, this is how we hire people here. This is how we write a job posting that's going to be seen and bring people in. These are our favorite interviewing questions so we could understand our candidates better. This is how we evaluate people so we eliminate hiring mistakes. Here's how we present a pay plan that's going to get accepted. I know you have an accounting system. If somebody comes in and they give you $800 to put down on a car, there's a system where that money goes. Who's allowed to touch it? How long does it sit at your company before it goes to the bank? I know you have a system for your salespeople. When I got started in the business, it was right out of college. I went to work for Edson Chevrolet in Rocky River, Ohio. We were taught a system called the 10-point system on selling cars. Meet and greet, sell yourself, learn about the customer's needs, land on a car, sell a car. And we liked that system because it helped us. You could bring somebody in off the street who never sold and teach them that system, and they'll get out there and they could start selling cars for you. I want to challenge you to have a recruitment system that you follow just like an accounting system that would help you and your managers hire better people and eliminate hiring mistakes. What I want to do in my 45 minutes here is show you some of the things we learned in 30 years. What I teach my recruiters. See, I don't hire experienced recruiters because I don't like to overcome their bad habits. I like to make recruiters. I teach them what we do and they follow it, and they could go to work for our clients finding good people all over the country. One of the things I've learned in the last 30 years is that your success is really based on the people you hire. I want you to think about it. You have a collection manager. How do you judge that collection manager's performance? It's really by the production of their staff, the people you hire and train. You all have sales managers. How do you judge the performance of a sales manager? It's really the people that they train, the people that you hire. Your career success is determined by the employees you hire. If you own the dealership, your success is really determined by the staff that you put together. But there's a problem. And the problem is you could have an MBA from an Ivy League school and still not understand the basics of recruitment. How to write a job posting that's going to bring in good people. Smart interviewing questions. How to evaluate. How to put a pay plan together. How to onboard so their first day they come in and they feel happy. And I know this because I worked with a lot of corporate clients and a lot of MBAs, and they tell me the same thing. They come out of business school and they don't understand the blocking and tackling of recruitment. So if you're going to put your own system together, there's some characteristics that I think are really, really important. And first is, it's got to be highly effective. It means it's got to work. Just like the 10-point system that we used when we sold cars. Secondly, it's got to be easy to use. It can't get in the way of itself because it's so complicated. The 10-point system was just something you have in your head, and it worked. Your hiring system has to be easy to use. I've seen some of my corporate clients buy these recruitment systems and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for them. To justify that kind of money, they have to be very complex. A lot of steps to it. They'll have things like 75-point matrices where you judge your candidate. Well, that's so complicated, people can't use it. One of the things I learned is that anything that gets in the way of you talking to a person, listening to them while you're interviewing them, anything that gets in the way is in the way. People just aren't going to use it. So it has to be easy to use. It's also got to be repeatable for all your different positions. Any position you have, one system should cover it all. It's just like the one we have at our office. If somebody comes into your dealership and they want to buy a pickup truck, next person comes in, maybe it's a single mom looking for a minivan. You don't have different systems to sell to. You use the same system. And that's the way it is with our company. And that's the way I think anyone has to be. Also, it has to be something that's easily teachable. Big companies could send somebody to school for 5 weeks, or 5 days rather, to learn about a system. But the speed of retail, you really can't send people away for 5 days to learn your system. It has to be easily teachable. And then easily adopted by new managers. One of the things that stops all kind of systems that companies use is when they lose their managers and the next manager is hired, they don't know the system. They haven't gone to the school. They haven't learned it. So it just dies right there. Now the components of our system, and there's 6 of them. And part of the beauty of this is it works for positions all over the country. I could take somebody off the street and start teaching it to them, and there's nothing you have to buy. It's just a matter of learning techniques. And I want to share some of those with you. First component is a good job description. And I'm going to tell you mine is different than yours. I've seen thousands of job descriptions over the years. Our company has placed, 2,000 some people. A lot of job descriptions. And really, they all look pretty much the same. Duties, responsibilities, qualifications. Typical job order that we see. If it's a dealership, they used to just call me up and they say, hey, Don, you know what? I'm replacing my collection manager, overseeing 6 people. And then they say, why don't you go in that bag of tricks of yours and see what you got? But the problem is, duties, responsibilities, and qualifications only gets you about halfway there. See, I don't have the information to really assess what my client's looking for. I understand what a collection manager does. I understand that you want somebody to oversee 6 people. Maybe our corporate clients, their head of receivables might have 500 people, but you need somebody to oversee 6. I got that. But to get the right person for our client, I have to understand what you want this person to accomplish when they get there. What change are they going to make? Why are you hiring them? Give you an example. A dealer calls us up and they say we're looking for a collection manager overseeing 6 people. I learned to ask what I call the great question. And I want to challenge you to add this to your job description. The great question helps a recruiter understand what they want besides the duties and responsibilities and qualifications. And let me show you the power of this one question and how easy it is to use. So the dealer says, we want a collection manager, oversee 6 people, why don't you see what you got? So the recruiter says, terrific, a year from now, what would this person need to accomplish to be considered a great hire? A year from now, what would they need to accomplish to be considered a great hire? And this is where we start getting into it. And they're going to say something like, collections are down 12% this year. It's a good economy. All my peers are up 8, 9, 10%. Someone's going to have to come in, figure out what the problem is, solve it for us. Now we understand how to assess our candidates. But in addition to that, now we have information to go out to the marketplace and recruit and have something to sell. I'm going to show you in a moment why people change jobs and why the answer to this question is so important. So let's talk about sourcing. That is, how do you find people? There's a few different methods. For our company, we've got over 100,000 people in our database. So if I'm looking for a recon manager in Austin, Texas, or a store manager in Miami, we're probably halfway there. But that's us. Most of our clients rely on job postings. And we post all our jobs too. But we also study the results. What I want to show you is how to put a job posting together, or at least I'm going to tell you what we learned to make your job postings more effective. And one of the most important rules is high-performing people, they don't leave for another job. They got a job. They don't leave for another job. They leave for what they think is a better job. Okay. So the person you're looking for, if you want somebody above average, you're looking for that high-performing person, they're going to leave for what they think is a better job, not another job. So then the question is, well, what's a better job? In 30 years of recruiting, I've taken thousands of calls from people that have a good job. They don't have to do anything, but they call us up and say, I got a good gig here. Everybody likes me. I'm doing really well. But I'm looking for something else, and here's why. And that here's why. There's 4 things I've learned in 30 years that high-performing people are looking for. And let me share them with you right now. They're looking for more challenge. That's that sales manager that has 5 people that are under them, and they want to go to a place where we have 10, 11, or 12. It's that store manager that's doing really well, running a buy here, pay here somewhere, but he'd like to oversee 2 or 3 at this point in his career. Looking for more challenge. Another reason they leave is what they consider a better company. A better company can mean different things to different people. For instance, over the years, I've had a lot of people call up and say they'd like to go to a larger company, thinking that perhaps there's going to be more opportunity, more assets to work with, more tools. But I got to tell you, I've heard from just as many people that want to get into a smaller company, where they don't have to go through 6 months of red tape to get something done. The beauty of sitting down with the owner and saying, hey, boss, I got an idea. And you could flesh it out right there and determine if you want to do this. How many times people tell me at a big company, by the time their idea goes through various committees and gets back to them, it's not even the idea they proposed. So being a smaller company could be a big advantage because there's a lot of people that want to go to a smaller company. People also leave for a team or what they think would be another mentor. And one thing that changed a lot, and it's changed quickly, millennials are taught to work for a boss until you learn all you can from them and then move on. Whether it's another position with that company or another company. Now, I'm old school. I wasn't taught that. I was taught to stay with a company, but I'm just going to tell you our culture changed. People leave sometimes for a different boss or team. These are the kind of things that we sell to people in our job postings. This is part of the conversation that we have with people when we're discussing the job with them. And all this really comes down to the ability to advance your career. But you notice what's not on the list? Money. Over 30 years, high-performing people, when they're looking for another job, it never starts the conversation off with, Don, I want more money. What can you do for me? It's a challenge. It's a different company, a different mentor. So I want to talk about how we put a job posting together and how we weave this material through like a tapestry in our job posting and in our conversation. Because again, if you want to attract those high-performing people, they're not going to come to you if you have a job posting that just has duties, titles, and responsibilities. They got a job. There's got to be something in there that you could sell to them, like challenge. Does anybody know who this is? This character from the TV show? Don Draper. Don Draper was a character in a TV show called Mad Men. I love that show. He was an advertising executive circa 1960s, 1970s. If Don Draper were here right now, and I said, hey, Don, what are the fundamentals of writing a good job posting or any kind of advertising? He would tell you, it's AIDA. You get their attention, you build interest, you build desire, then you tell them an action to take. And I remember one scene where he was admonishing his staff as they were putting on a presentation, and Don got up and he walked out, and he said, attention, interest, desire, action. Can't you get any of these right? And he walked out and had a cigarette. These are the fundamentals. Now, this is in theory. This works if you've got a magazine ad that you're selling a hammer or a modern TV commercial where you have a high-performance sports car. It's attention, interest, desire, and action. That's in theory. Now, in practicality, it doesn't show up on the screen, but everybody should have one of these handouts. All right? In here, it's the 6 components of a good recruitment system. But it's way more detailed than I could talk about in 45 minutes. Somewhere around page 8, there's an ad in here for a technician. This is an ad that's running right now live on our website and our job board. We use a version of this ad throughout the country. The words change depending on what the dealer is looking for and what stands out about them. But I want you to take the time when you go home, those of you that are interested in writing a better job posting, study it. It's simple. It's one page. It's highly effective for us to recruit technicians around the country. If I were writing an ad, let's say for a COO of a company, that might be 2 or 3 pages. A lot of detail. Talking about the mentor, the boss you're going to be working for, the team you're going to be joining, the challenge that you're going to come in and fix. But this is how we put a job posting together. One other thing about a job posting that's really important, and I guarantee you nobody ever tells you this. It's the influence that Google has on people looking for a job. They have been a major industry disruptor. If I were talking to you just 2 years ago, I would say this is how people find a job. They don't use newspapers anymore. They open up their Monster account or Ladders account or Career Builder's account and start looking. But how that has changed in just a couple of years. Over 80% of the people looking for a job right now, they go to Google and they type in a job title and a city. Google goes out and brings all that information back. And why is that important to you? Because Google doesn't bring it in abstractly. There's a very specific way they bring it back. You can influence that. There's 3 things that Google is looking for. And this isn't corporate secrets. They'll tell you this if you ask, and I know because I worked with Google and I've asked them. 3 things they're looking for that has to be in your job posting right now, or you will not get a very high rating. It won't be seen by people, no matter how well written it is. And it's these 3 that are on the board right now. It's a clear job title. I'm old school. I used to write a lot of newspaper ads for salespeople. If anybody ever did this, it would be Top Guns only, right? The way we did it in the 80s and 90s. Top Guns only. If you did that now, I think you're going to get a picture of Tom Cruise, and I don't think he's showing up, right? Collection manager. I used to put things like collection guru. But again, that's not going to work now. It has to be a clear title. If you look at the ad that I have in here, I have a subtitle. Subtitle is where you get creative and start building interest. So you could put sales representative. Subtitle could be Top Guns only to come join the best team in the city selling cars. Collection manager. Subtitle. Looking for that collection guru to come in and turn around an underperforming department and reap the financial benefits that go with it. This is how we sell our job postings. We don't get a lot of candidates, but we're looking for quality candidates. See, when you put the challenge in there you want them to fix, I'm going to tell you now you're going to turn a lot of people off that don't want to come in and work that hard. And that's fine because I don't want to talk to them. I want that person that's looking for a change, looking for that bigger challenge. And I tell you, they're out there. This is how we attract them for our clients, and you could do the same thing. Google also likes to see salary, or salary, hourly range, and location. And those of you that are intellectually curious and you're wondering, why does Google care about this stuff? Think about what Google does for money. How do they make their billions? They sell this information. So, auto technician puts in auto technician in Kansas City, and he's going to start getting ads popping up for things that technicians might buy. Tools. If they put Kansas City in, you know, the Kansas City Dental Association is probably going to contact them, or the dental center. Popular restaurants are going to start popping up when they do searches. That's why these 3 things are so important to Google. They're easy to do, but my caveat here is, like a lot of things in management, they're easy to do, but they're easy not to do. If you don't do these, no one's going to call you up and say, hey, you know what, you missed the salary in here. You're not going to get a very high ranking. Nobody's going to tell you this. But this is what we learned working with Google. So I'm going to really encourage you to think about adding these to your job postings. So you have a great job posting, and now you're going to start interviewing. What I teach people is intelligent interviewing produces intelligent hiring decisions. Okay? Intelligent interviewing produces intelligent hiring decisions. You could bet in 30 years I've read dozens of books about recruitment, about interviewing questions, and I have to say most of it wasn't very good. I used to ask those questions like, well, tell me about your biggest accomplishment, or tell me about a failure that you had. If you were on a desert island, what 2 things would you bring with you? But I got to be honest with you, I don't know what to do with their answers. So they tell me the 2 things they'd bring on a desert island. That a good recon manager now? I don't know. They tell me about a success that they've had in their career, a typical question. Does that mean the sales rep from Best Buy that you're trying to hire to bring on as a salesperson? Does that mean they're going to be a hard-working, day-to-day, bell-to-bell kind of person? I don't know. I don't know what to do with that information. Or what's really hip right now, the West Coast companies like Facebook, Google, they're famous for asking questions like, how many ping pong balls would it take to fill the Statue of Liberty? Well, I want a recon manager. I don't care what their answer is. I won't know what to do with that. So let me show you the core questions that we use for all of our searches. And here they are. Again, I want to challenge you to think about the questions you ask to make your searches and interviews better. My interviews are really short, but they're very effective. First question I like to ask is, what are your current performance standards? How are they measured? Give you an example. My best recruiter is here right now, Lisa. Raise your hand. Say hi to everybody. Okay. Lisa joins us from PNC Bank less than 2 years ago. She placed 6 people last month. 2 Toyota service managers from 2 different cities, 2 different dealerships. A Volvo tech. A CFO from a subprime auto finance company that got a $250,000 base salary. And these are the core questions that we ask. And full disclosure, Lisa's my wife. I recruited her for years, not just to marry me, but also to go to work for us. And she joins us 2 years ago, a little bit less. And I won't say I had more hair back then, because I got to be honest, I didn't. So, current performance standards, how are they measured? So let's say we're working with a Volvo tech, right? And we say to the Volvo tech, tell me about your current performance standards and how are they measured? So the Volvo tech tells her, we get paid a flat rate, we're guaranteed 40 hours, so anything under than 40, we're not doing such a good job. Anything over 40, they love us, we're doing a good job. So when I ask the next question is, well, how are you doing with that? Volvo Tech says, I'm turning 55 hours a week on a 40-hour work week. From that one question, I know I got a really good Volvo Tech here. Not only are they efficient and fast to turn 55 hours in a 40-hour work week, they don't get paid to fix cars that come back that weren't repaired right the first time. I know I got a quality person that fixes the car right and is really good. That's what I mean by intelligent interviewing. And you might say, well, Don, we fill hourly positions, but I'm looking for management positions. Or I'm looking for that person to oversee my 12 buy here, pay here stores. Would these work for them? Well, let's take a look. So Lisa is interviewing candidates for the COO position. Going to ask, tell me about your current performance standards. How are they measured? Candidate says, when I was hired, we were doing business in 6 states, and I was tasked to take them to 10 states in 2 years. It means I had to go out and get licensed, I had to hire people, had to start getting deals come in. So we had to go from 6 to 10 in 2 years. Okay? How are you doing with that? Got them to 12 states in 2 years. August, we're opening 13, 14 coming online by the end of the year. You think you have a high-performing candidate at this point? I know I do. This is what I mean by learning to ask intelligent interviewing questions that are going to lead to intelligent hiring decisions. I'm not going to ask this person, tell me about your biggest success story, or tell me about a failure that you had. I want to ask questions like this so I understand better how this person performs. What's very important, though, is low performers lie. Been interviewing people for 30 years. Never had anybody say, I'm really doing a bad job. I usually do. And there's a lot of heat on me. They might fire me, so I'm looking for a position now. Never heard it. So how do we help our clients find out if we really have a high performer or someone that's going to make stuff up? And that's with the show me. So I asked the Volvo tech, so you're turning 55 hours. Hey, that's really terrific. Can I see your weekly worksheet where it breaks that down, or your paycheck year to date? See that you're averaging 55 hours? And here's what I found. In 30 years of interviewing people, 30 years, every high-performing person could verify what they've done, and they're going to be proud to give you references that you could talk to. Every high-performing person could give you references and they're going to give you documentation. In fact, usually when they email me their resume, they have that information in their email. Look at what I've accomplished. Here's my performance appraisal for last quarter. They'll send that without even asking. Low performers, they give you excuses. Low performers are going to say, you know what, I've got the last two general managers I work for, they're not at the dealerships anymore. I don't know where they're at. And I'm going to say, well, I'm in the business of finding people. Give me their names. I'll find them. We'll get that for you. And what's going to happen is you're never going to hear from that person again, or they're going to call after hours when you're not there to take their call and say something like, hey, Don, thanks for talking to me about that position, but my company's in a tough position right now, and I'm just too loyal to leave. Leave them in a lurch. I can't do that now, but thanks a lot. That's coded language for, you're a professional and you got me on this one. I can't verify the stuff I said. But that's how they word it. So it's important to show me and to check for references. Another question I like to ask is, what are you doing to get to the next level? Now, what is the next level for you? What are you doing to get there? Now, this is just a handful of questions, but I'm going to find out if I have a high-performing person for my clients. So what's the next level for you? I'm talking to a bookkeeper. Bookkeeper says, oh, you know what, I want to be an office manager. Great. So what are you doing to get there? Well, I learned that I have to know more about accounting. So I'm thinking of signing up, getting my associate's degree online. You know, another thing, I realized my manager uses a lot of Excel spreadsheets. I'm going to take an Excel course, learn about that. That's an answer, okay? We interview the next bookkeeper. What's the next step for you in your career? What are you doing to get there? They say, I want to be an office manager. What are you doing to get there? Well, I need to know more about accounting. So I signed up for an online course. I'm getting my associate's degree. It's going to take me 5 years, part-time. I'm 3 years through it, but I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to finish. You know, also I have to know more about Excel. So I've taken the beginning class. I've taken the intermediate. Next semester, I'm going to be taking a class on pivot tables so I can learn more about it. Now you have two different answers. One's talking the talk, and the other one I think is walking the walk, right? With the two different answers, who are you leaning with? Person who's telling you what you want to hear, or the person that's doing it? See, one of the things I've learned in this business, once somebody has 6 months in this business or any business, they know exactly what to tell you to get the job. But the key is, are they doing it? This is how we find out if we have a really good candidate for a client. I want to talk about how to present a pay plan that's going to be accepted. By show of hands, who wants to see how we present a pay plan, make sure it gets accepted? All right. Well, you're in luck, because I got an opinion on this one, all right? I've seen a lot of dealers offer pay plans to people, and they know they're going to get maybe $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 more by coming on board. But the person goes back home, and they're trying to figure out the variable. Variable is usually hooked to some line, right? Some line on your financial report. They're sitting down at their kitchen table with their spouse, and they start crunching numbers, but they're crunching numbers based on their current dealership. And they might expense for things a little bit differently. Now, they come up with a number, and they mistakenly come up with something that says they're going to make $9,000 less. They tell their spouse that, and their spouse instantly kills this. So what's going to happen is they're going to call you up, and they're going to turn the position down because they don't want to take less money. or they're going to ask for $9,000 more to make up for that gap that actually doesn't exist. That's because they either didn't understand the pay program, or worse yet, they misunderstood it. So we like to present the pay program for our clients. I'm going to show you how we do it. And if our clients insist on presenting the pay plan themselves, we're going to insist that they follow this formula. And let me walk you through it, and you'll never have anybody misunderstand your pay plan. So what we do is we're going to email them a copy of the pay plan and then talk to them on the phone. We work with people all over the country. And we're going to say, the title of the position is this. The duties and authority of this position is going to be this. Your expected start date is going to be this. The days and hours of work, right here. Is this exempt or non-exempt? Your paid time off, vacations, holidays, and things like that. The date your benefits begin. Your base salary or hourly wage, and then your variable. Bonuses, commissions, whatever that might be. And it's the variable. It's the variable that gets everybody in trouble when they're doing pay plans. So let me show you what we learned, and this is another tip I want you to take home, and you and your manager could use it, starting today, if you like this. So here's what we learned to do. We explain with the variable, if you underperform, perform as expected, and if you overperform. So we're going to say, Pam, if you come in and you don't make any improvement in our collection department at all, almost like you didn't show up, based on the trailing 12 month, this pay plan will yield this much in the variable pay. But Pam, we're not looking for you to come on board and do nothing. We're expecting a 10% increase in whatever your key performance indicators are. More sales, more profitability, more efficient, lower expenses. Whatever your key performers are. And at 10%, your variable is going to be this much. And Pam, if you overperform, and I have a feeling you have that ability, and you perform and increase it by 15%, now your variable is going to be this much. Now, when you present a pay plan like that, is there any room for misunderstanding? No room for misunderstanding. Another good thing about this is everything is laid out. So that person that has a cousin that's a lawyer, and you have a disgruntled, low-performing employee that wants to quit and sue you, and says, well, you didn't pay me the way you said you were going to. Now you go back to this and say, well, let's just lay everything out. First thing a judge is ever going to say if you go to court is, let's see what you have in writing. Leave the lawyers on the golf course and take the time to put together a pay plan professionally like this. And the other beauty of this, your offer letter is already written for you, isn't it? The offer letter that says, we want to welcome you to ABC Auto Sales, and you're going to spell out everything for them in your offer letter, it's already written. So with my 45 minutes coming up, and I hope you got some things out of this. I hope you learned some tips that you could take home. There's a lot more in here. The book is going to have a lot more if you have such an interest. But again, what I want to encourage all of you to do is have a recruitment system, a manual, where you could sit down with the next manager you hire and everybody at your company and say, this is how we recruit people. This is how we write a job posting. Here's the interviewing questions we like to ask so we understand our person better. Here's how we evaluate people. Here's how we put a pay plan together. Here's how we onboard people. All right. Well, that's my time today. I want to thank all of you very much. And I have to say what an honor it is to be here. I started my business 30 years ago in a one-bedroom apartment. My corporate assets included a phone, a pen, a pad of paper, and a Yellow Pages. And to go from there and have the opportunity to be up here and talking to you, I just have to tell you, it's humbling and it's a great honor. So thank you very much. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be around, and Lisa will to answer them for you. Thank you.